Hello, welcome back. This is the second video I've uploaded to this channel. As I stated in my description of my first video, I said that I would look up some video editing software and the like, and I have found some. So I'm hoping the quality on this one will come out better. Anyways, what I'm about to depict in this one is not something found on the internet, not something you read. This is a story from my own childhood. You can all call me crazy out there and say a lot of this stuff doesn't exist, but I grew up with it. That day started out like any other. I want to say 15 or 16 years old. I grew up in a small town. Still live in the same area, actually. It was one of those towns where everyone knew everyone. It was summer, I remember, because we didn't have school. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gone out that night. This was with a couple of my ex-best friends who I had a falling out with later on. We didn't want to go swimming down at the usual spot because there was usually a lot of people around, and we didn't like being around other people. We didn't, being teenage girls, I guess. So we decided we would walk 5 miles to another swimming area where there were hardly any people. I guess we should have started out earlier than we did, but we were idiots. We decided to take our dogs, my German Shepherd and my Bull Mastiff. You have to realize that the spot that we were going to go swimming is down an old road that hardly anyone drives. And nowadays I have to take it to get to and from work, and I hate coming back at night. It scares me. I don't do the speed limit through there, needless to say. At first it was okay because we were still surrounded by houses on either side, down through the housing authorities. But after the housing authorities ended, that's when the houses really started getting spaced out, less and less. On one side, there was the bluffs, and on the other side, between the houses were long stretches of empty fields. The sun was starting to set when we approached this one spot in the road. Long arches of trees over the road, about 400 or 500 feet. I was the first to pick up on something because, like I said, I grew up with this kind of stuff. And then my dogs noticed something. My Bull Mastiff was the first. I was the one walking her. And one of my other friends was walking my German Shepherd. She began whining. And I looked down at her and I said, maybe we should go back. Nah, come on. No, I really think we should go back. I don't want to go any further. The sun's setting, and by the time we get down there, it'll be too dark to see anything, won't it? Oh, stop being such a big baby. Come on, let's go. Not wanting to seem like a complete wuss in front of my friends, I continue to follow. But we didn't get 2 feet into that arch of trees before both dogs stopped and refused to move. They refused to go any further. We tugged on their leashes, but they held their ground. I looked at my friends and I said, guys, I really think we should go back now because this is not normal. They don't act like this. My dogs don't act like this. And that's when we heard it. We heard what sounded like hoofbeats, and that was crazy because even being out in the middle of nowhere out there, there were no farms or ranches nearby, so there were no horses. There was no explanation for the hoofbeats. And then we heard what sounded like Indian war cries. We all stopped and looked around, and through the field, we could see dust kicking up. There was no wind, though. The sounds were getting louder and louder. The sound of pounding horse. And the sound of pounding horse hooves. And the Indian war cries. Closer and closer. The dogs were freaking out now, wailing like they were in pain. We ran as fast as we could. And once we got back to the beginning of the housing authorities is only when we stopped, which was honestly about 2 miles back. I'd never ran that far before. Only then did we stop and look back. There was nothing there. Needless to say, we never, ever walked that way again.